You are once again welcome to Evangelist Imakalu TV, Treasury of Excellent Knowledge. I am your serviceable servant, Evangelist Imakalu. This is part 27 of Prioritizing Godliness. The caption is Being Chosen by God. Being chosen by God is one of the paramount benefits of prioritizing godliness. And it is also a proof that you are really prioritizing God. God does not choose anyone who does not make him and his things a priority, not just a priority, the top priority of life. To differentiate between our calling and our chosen. Chosen means selection, calling means invitation, and assignment. Invitation for assignment. But chosen requires screening. When the Israelites as a nation are called, but chosen by God requires screening in and screening out. That is the reason when God wanted to execute a warfare for deliverance over the Israelites, then he employed Gideon to lead the army of Israel for that assignment. So Gideon was first chosen, and Gideon was a young man who prioritized godliness. Then, for God to choose others to add to him to form up the army, God screened the army of Israel, which Gideon had gathered, numbering 32,000 hefty and strong men for the battle. God screened them down to only 300 with some invents. He said, go and drink the water from the stream. Some of them knelt down to drink the water, which is carelessness, being obsessed to satisfy their thirst. They knelt down, they forgot everything. In the process of kneeling down, if they have salt, they have to drop it on the ground. Anything they have, their knee, that is they surrendered to the water. They surrendered only to drink the water. While some bent, standing on their foot, bent, taking hand to take the water and drink and be watching. These are the prudent among them. Those who can be eaten, who are not being carried away by consumption, by searching for self-satisfaction, by moving to gratify their appetite, their wants, their desires, and their thirst. While they were drinking, they were also vigilant because they never knew when the enemy can come or what will happen next. So they were so watchful. And they were only 300 men out of 32,000 men. The rest were screened out, and the 300 were screened in, adding Gideon with it. So 300 became the real chosen of God. Gideon chose 32,000 men, but God chose only 300 inside of that 32,000 men. The text for this message is James chapter 2 verse 5. It says, listen, my beloved brethren, did not God choose the poor of this world to be rich in faith and heirs of the kingdom which he promised to those who love him? So he said, God chooses the poor of this world. Who are the poor of this world? The poor of this world are not always those with extreme financial lack. It is not always those with extreme financial lack. The word poor here means the less privileged. The less privileged is not always those who lack finance most especially. Some people are financially rich, yet they are less privileged. In the sense that there are people who are ignoble. They ignoble those who are regarded to be non-entities in the communities, in the societies. Perhaps because they are not academically educated. This is, they are not erudites, but they have money. So there are levels their money can take them to, and their illiteracy become their barrier and their limitation. So in some aspects they are ignoble. There are people who are highly educated, I mean the erudites, but they have no money. In some places they are regarded because of their intellectual prowess, but when it comes to finance they are overlooked. There are people with great wisdom but financially poor. Even at times, their wisdoms are being despised because they have no money. And this puts these people finding themselves in a circle where money is the priority, where money is worshipped. There are people who have the money but they lack the wisdom. Those who prioritize wisdom do not value them as such. They do not value them as such because they know the value of wisdom and they prioritize wisdom over money. So that is how the world live. But according to God, the poor of this world are those who live pleasingly to God. He said those who love God. Who are those who love God? Jesus says, if you love me, obey my commandments. Those who live their life under the authority of the commandments of God. Because the commandment of God means respecting God, disciplining self, respecting fellow human beings, caring for the well-being of every other, and loving ourselves first without polluting ourselves, without harming ourselves, and also extending that love to every other person under the authority of God's law. These are the people who truly love God. And as such are ignored, as such are neglected, because as such are the light of the world. Because those who love God do not live according to the rudiments of the world. They do not align to the visions and passions and the ambitions, goals, and sources kind of the world. And that is the reason the world hate them. And they hate the world. They hate the world with the love of God, expecting the world to repent and join them in humbling themselves to God, while the world want them to stop loving God and join them in rebelling against God and to be enjoying carnal pleasure. That is the reason John the Baptist he said, for the light has come into the world, but the world they rejected the light because their deeds are evil. Jesus Christ is the light he is referring to. The born-again Christian who are transformed to becoming like Christ are the present light of the world. Those whose light cannot be overshadowed, whose candle cannot be put under bushel, the salt of the nation. So these are the lovers of God, and they are regarded as the less privileged in the world. They are regarded as the non-entity. And those who love God are humble to God. Those who live in humility to God are not regarded in the world. In many occasions, they are not invited. Even when they are invited, they are not called on the high seat because their message, their belief system, their practices will not accord will not accord with the practices of the secular events. Our operational system does not align with the secular operational systems. That is the reason they don't regard us. Even when they know our value, they don't care to regard us because everything we do, will come to tell them, the way you dress is not proper. This is where everything they promote and support is what we stand against. That is the reason we are neglected. Even in the church, there are people who are so humble to God, who are so faithful to God, yet they are ignored because of some corruption and the corrupt people in the leadership of the church, because of church politics. But however, when God wants to use anybody, God goes and locates the person, and God knows the quality. David was neglected, ignored, even by Prophet Samuel, because Prophet Samuel, with sincere heart, was following the tradition. It should be the elder brother that should be anointed, the eldest brother sequentially, but God had a different perspective, because the way human being evaluates is different from the way God evaluates. So all these people, they have the social qualification, but they lack the humble heart. I have found a man who is humble-hearted to me, not to any other person, and that is the person. And as soon as David was invited, God said to Prophet Samuel, "This is my man, anoint him to be the king of Israel." Joseph was the 11th among the 12 sons of Jacob. He has 10 elder brothers who did not humble themselves to God, who were regarded by the people as the superior. They regard themselves to be superior, but God came to choose Joseph. This choosing means being selected for special assignment. Being selected for special assignment. It is because of the virtue and the price, the virtue Joseph carried, the price he was able to pay, which was uncommon to the rest of his brother, that made God begin to reveal things to him. He became a dreamer. He continued to mature. He was persecuted. He became a dream interpreter. From asking, what does this dream mean, he began to interpret dream. It is because of all of these things God was equipping him, preparing him. When time came, God elevated him through Pharaoh. All of us have seen it. Everybody, is it Virgin Mary? God did not just choose her because of her name or whatever. There is a price she paid to keep her virginity up to that extent. Being an honorable young woman, God selected her. All of those people, God does not choose people anyhow. When God chose the family of Joseph, the husband of Mary, to be the family to bear, to give birth to the Messiah in the physical. So people will imagine, why didn't God go to the royal families, the well-known, the wealthy, those who would take care of the baby and elevate him? And those people lacked godliness. Those people did not prioritize God. Mary and her husband Joseph prioritized God, and that had been their pattern of life. It has become a culture to them. Prioritizing God was a culture to them. So you and myself, if we have the culture of putting God first in everything we are doing, we will be among those God will choose. And perhaps you are already chosen. I am sure I am already chosen. I am chosen to be doing what I am doing, and by the grace of God, the result it generates the evidence and the life it can the impact. They are the evidence, and I am building all of this in to leave them as legacies to humanity. So you can be chosen. Even if you are not chosen today, you can come into the qualification to be chosen, only for you to humble yourself to God. If you have already humbled yourself to God, God has chosen you. Maybe you have not realized it. Then, if you want to know, if you contact me, I will tell you how you are chosen, because I am into that business. Remember, I am your serviceable servant, evangelist Inima Carlo. I am a human capital developer. I am an evangelical author, and I am a custodian of Christianity. Until I come your way Once again, always remember my books. They are all available in Amazon. At least I have 5 books by now. Polygamy and its problems had come out from Amazon, though the one available right now is the electronic copy only. There is something holding the paper copy, but it will soon come out when it is resolved, so it will not be so far. May God bless you. It is all of them are for educational purpose, to building you, to building humanity, to building the church, to building the Christian society as a custodian of Christianity. This is what God has chosen me to do, and by the grace of God, I paid the price, and I continue to pay the price, and I continue to make impact. Likewise, any other person who fall into the fold. It doesn't matter whether the world neglect you. It doesn't matter whether you are regarded in your church or not. It doesn't matter how people may be treating you. What matters is how do you relate with God. That is what God is after. And when God decides to use you for anything, people will not understand. They will only see something, events happening, and you become God's choice for doing it. Even though persecution, jealousy, envy will come, but God will always protect you. But if you have fear and doubt in your heart, you cannot really do that work, even when you are chosen. May God bless you really good until I come your way once again.